What is up, everybody? Thanks for joining. I see I got a few people here in the live chat already, so greatly appreciate for you guys to join me tonight. Of course, tonight we're going to be talking about Pokemon investing year-end rant. Today we're going to be talking about what's going on in the Pokemon TCG when it comes down to your Pokemon investing. And also, what can we expect going into 2024? It's been a really interesting year to date, comparatively to the last 2 or 3. And it's going to be kind of interesting to hear what your guys' thoughts are through the live, where you think this is going to go. That's going to be the really curious thing. So before we get started, of course, I'm going to acknowledge the chat for the people that are in here already. So thank you for joining Pika Pika. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Also, thank you, Gumbo Slice, for joining. Yeah, we're going to have a good rant today. We're going to be talking about what's going on when it comes down to Pokemon investment. And, of course, we're going to open up the last half. I usually go about 20-minute rant, 25-minute rant. And then we'll be going into, of course, open chat. You guys have discussions. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say for what's going to happen in Pokemon in 2024. It's always interesting to hear how people view things and how people think things are going to go. And then it's always kind of fun to look back at the end of the year to see where it's going to go. I always like taking a look at my prediction videos and talk about it, and take a look at how they actually panned out throughout the year. And actually this year it wasn't too bad. Actually, it was pretty close overall with the slowdown and everything else that we kind of saw coming in 2023. And we're going to kind of look at that 2024. So once again, thank you, iFOMO. As always, greatly appreciated for you to join the chat. Gumbo Slice, once again, thanks everybody. Thank you, Pika Pika, for being in here. It's always a pleasure to have all of you guys on board. So with that being said, what do we see in 2023? What was the big things that were, going on when it came down to 2023 in our investments? And what has happened? Has the market been stable? Have we seen good movements and good rates when it comes down to the Pokemon TCG and also the investing side? And in general, we have seen a slowdown. And I think a lot of us thought that this was going to happen, especially moving into a new era of Pokemon. We usually do get a slowdown. That's nothing new. That's pretty much the consistent thing that happens in Pokemon is you get all these people on board towards the end of the era, and then they completely change over to the new era, and people don't necessarily want to join in. And people don't like change. That's just human nature in general, is people don't like change. People don't like to see that occur. And so what's the things that we can do to combat that, or what do we have to look at it in the future? A lot of people like iFOMO, I was just going to bring that up. Crown Zenith. Everybody was expecting Crown Zenith to just explode and be this huge gain and just continue to fly up in price. And realistically, it hasn't performed as well as some people really were hoping for. And, there's a couple factors when it comes down to it. The fact is that, number one, the economy has been changing, and it's been changing slowly over time. And things have definitely changed when it comes down to people's expenditures and what people can spend, how much they can spend on things. And that's always a factor when it comes down to it. And the other factor is that we are seeing people, as they age into the hobby and as things progress and you start becoming what I call seasoned, you become more of a veteran in this hobby for the people that were investing into things, and people were, continually buying things on the fly and just going by the seat of your pants because everything was now or never type situations, have now learned that that's not always the case. You can wait. You can take your time. You can work on building those positions in these areas that you enjoy and be able to definitely work to build that community and continue to build up into these things. You don't have to spend major money up front when you could wait things out, just as such as Pokemon 151 ETBs, just as we've said with Crown Zenith not taking off as strong as people have, because there's always that next opportunity, it seems like, just around the corner. And just because we miss one opportunity doesn't mean it won't circle back around. Now, Pokemon Center ETBs have been a shocker when it comes down to the fact we don't get reprints of those anymore. And that's going to be an interesting thing that's going to play out, too, when it comes down to the investments this year and how that could change. Now, are they never going to do reprints of these particular Pokemon Center ETBs? We don't know, right? We don't know for sure if they're going to reprint them or not. When we were back in Sword and Shield, they reprinted it all the time. That was pretty common for them to actually reprint that and reprint them several times, sometimes for certain ETBs in the Pokemon Center exclusive ones. So even Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies were really the only two that there weren't any major Pokemon Center ETBs. And it's going to be really interesting to see. When we go into 2024, that's definitely going to be an interesting analysis or thought. Do we think that they're never going to reprint Scarlet and Violet ETBs, Pokemon Center ETBs? Or are they going to potentially go and start reprinting those ETBs? it's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of cool to see how that works, and how that continues to move forward for that sector of it. And so far, the people that have been very much driven to buying those exclusive ETBs and Pokemon Center exclusives have been doing really well when it comes down to the Scarlet and Violet era. Now, back in 2024, a lot of people thought that we would see, really big slowdown. Some of us, it was a very divided topic when it came down to it. Some people expected everything to continue to move up, just keep going. But going back to that season, as people get seasoned in a hobby and as people start to really become smarter at their purchases, and as budgets get a little bit tighter, people tend to tighten down and be very smart with their money rather than just buying things on a whim. They start to analyze and they start to look at things. And we're seeing some places in the hobby start talking about analysis paralysis. And to me, there is a point where you can have analysis paralysis. That is a real thing where you never buy because you're always worried, or you're waiting for it to go down because it should go down, or you're waiting for it to do something that you're expecting, but it never does. And these are all things that can cause analysis paralysis. But that's not necessarily happening in this case. And I've even heard collectors sit there and talk, or flippers that took like the that Pokemon collection box and tried to break it down and how quickly the pricing of these particular items fell. And to be honest with you, I think there's a couple parts to it. Number one, people are becoming seasoned. As collectors, as investors, as people that enjoy these things, you've learned over the last 3 years that there's always opportunity for that thing to drop. And instead of just going in and spending a lot of money on it, unless you're looking for like the first one that's been, put out there as a PSA 10. So if you're looking for that specific cert that's like the first Charizard PSA 10, and you're trying to get as close to that as you could, then you might spend a premium on that particular card. But when you're looking at it from a collection aspect, so I want that Charizard, I want that Blastoise, I want that Venusaur, I want those Squirtle Hollows and things like that. People are starting to become a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more smart, a little bit more looking at it as a difference between jumping in, spending a ton of money, and just looking at it from a seasoned point of view of knowing how the habits are in the hobby, of waiting it out. You wait for the prices to drop like crazy. You wait for that race to the bottom, because then you want to be at the bottom to grab that actual item that you're looking for, that. And once again, that's a very interesting way of looking at it. And it's a new way of looking at it. And I definitely think when it comes down to your Pokemon investments going into 2024, that's definitely going to be a big factor when it comes down to it. You're no longer going to be able to do as many quick flips as we've talked. Quick flipping is getting to be extremely difficult in the Pokemon hobby, and it will continue to be that kind of difficulty when it comes down to it, because people are becoming more seasoned and more smart when it comes down to purchasing. They're not just throwing money around, especially for the collector out there, for the individual that's really just trying to build a collection, and not so much the people are looking for the quick flips or looking for that investment side of things. And there's a good portion of it. I mean, realistically, I think, talking to people and hearing things, I think that the investing side is a lot more limited than what people think. And I think Mason even said it, on PK's last live when he was there, is people are no longer, or not talking about investment outside of their home. There aren't very many people that are going. So if I go to an LGS, I can tell you that I never talk about investing. It's not something that I talk about when I'm at my local card shop and playing Pokemon. It's not talking about the investment factor of it. We're talking about the strength of cards. We're talking about how collectible this card is, how much these guys want these for their binders and that kind of stuff, and that they're still looking for the specific card and trying to get it as close to this price. The investing side of it is just not as big or prevalent outside of YouTube as some people think. And do I think that there's hundreds of thousands of booster boxes being stored up in people's basements right now, expecting this big explosion in price? I don't think so. And the other question I always have is, how many times are we selling the same booster box on TCG Player? I think that's another big factor when it comes down to it. Is I think a lot of times we're seeing the same booster boxes get sold. Someone buys them, they make their 10, 15% or 5% per booster box, and they sell another group. and they sell, that person buys it, and then they wait for the market to go up a little bit, and they sell again. And we're seeing the same booster boxes and the same people kind of rotating these booster boxes through each other. And I always wonder how much of that actually occurs. It's really hard to mark a booster box to be able to find out if that's occurring. But really, I think that it's happening more than people think. That a lot of times, even what they're willing to bet, someone probably sold those same booster boxes potentially at around 300. And now someone's holding them and probably might have sold them at 450. Everybody makes these leaps and everybody makes these changes, and that's continuing to really drive those prices up. But it's not the fact that we're seeing thousands of booster boxes being stored, as much as I wonder how many times the same booster boxes are just getting stair-stepped several times over and moving around. It'd be an interesting little study if you could somehow figure out a way to chase it. I don't know how you could, and I don't know any good way of doing so to be sure that you can. But once again, I think that that's a big factor when we look at the next year of Pokemon investing and collecting. Is if you're a collector, it's a great market for you just to wait. If you are looking for collection pieces right now, unless you're looking for a specific cert or you're looking for a first one off the line type deal, you're trying to get the earliest PSA 10 Charizard that's graded, and you're willing to spend that premium to do so, and if there's an advantage to it, I don't even know if there is, but if you are, then you're going to definitely be wanting to do that. But other than that, I think a lot of collectors, people that are filling their collection, have become very, very smart. And they're no longer buying everything at a premium. Some will. Right off the bat, you'll always get the people that hype and FOMO on something and are worried that it's going to be and talk themselves into doing it. But I think as we get further and further into the years, as more and more people are in this hobby longer, as people's collections are growing and people start specializing into specific parts of their collections, we're definitely going to sit there and see the prices fall faster, and they're going to start being bought at a lower price. People aren't going to jump on that hype and FOMO as easy. Some people will, but in general, we're going to continue to see things go down quicker, and they're going to bottom out in a little bit lower, just because collectors are going to wait. It's their market. They can wait out an investor or a flipper. Someone is trying to sell that PSA 10 Charizard from that collections box now is continually every day watching that price get nibbled down further and further and further. And if they're still out at grading, you got to be sweating that you get that 10 at this point, because if you don't get that 10 at this point, you are in real trouble when it comes down to your actual investments and your actual flip on that particular box. And the prices are getting tighter and tighter every single day. And that's going to continue to happen. Do I think that there's no good buys out there? Do I think that there's no more investment currently in 2024? Absolutely not. There's plenty of investment. And even in 2023, it became very, very spotty. I mean, it wasn't like every product in 2023 went up extremely fast. They weren't extremely fast gainers. There weren't extreme explosions when it came down to it. But overall, there are still some very spotty products that did extremely well. And that'll be on tomorrow's top 5 end of the year investments for Pokemon in 2023. So these are items that were released in 2023, and we're going to see how well that they performed when it came down to 2023 overall. And see, is there the actual items that are doing well? Because most people think that a lot of the Scarlet and Violet stuff just didn't do well. It didn't perform very well. And that's going to, of course, put a weird feeling in people that there's just no investment left. But it's far from the truth. There are some items that are doing extremely well. Some of them are still seeing, 40% gains on them, which is still crazy in my opinion for a brand new Pokemon product that could be reprinted tomorrow, but they're still doing well and they're still continuing to do well. And that, I think, will still continue into 2024. It's just people are becoming more selective. It's not every booster box. It's not every single alternate art. It's not every single everything that gets printed from Pokemon is flying out the door and selling at record prices right away. So it's going to be a change, and the changing is going to continue to happen. Now, the other thing we got to take into consideration is the U.S. economy. It seems to be doing well. It seems to be holding together. Credit card debt continues to go up, which is a big concern. How long can our economy continue to handle that before we start having a lot of foreclosures? And of course, people claiming bankruptcy to get away from that credit card, that unsubstantiated debts. If we continue to do as we are right now, people still have expendable money. So if people still have expendable money, hobbies in general will continue to do well. People like buying what they like to buy. I like buying what I like to buy, and I will pay it if I want it. But even myself for my collection goals and my collecting in general, I've become a lot smarter. I don't just jump off and try and get something because I want it and I want to put it in my collection. It's more of the let's wait it out. Let's see how it's going. It's starting to move down. I found one at a good price, but maybe if I wait a little bit longer, it might go down. If I start to see it up, yeah, at least I waited it out the best I can. I may pay $1, a couple dollars more, but it is what it is. It's not bad for me just to kind of wait, and I'm still well within the price range that I was hoping to spend on it. And these are all interesting pieces of the puzzle that are going to continue to change and evolve as we get more seasoned people in this hobby. As more and more people get age and they start to grow into this hobby, as they continue to become more comfortable in this hobby, and as they continue to become smarter on their purchases and how they're going to do things, it's definitely going to be an interesting way of watching the investment go. Once again, cheap pricing, great. You're seeing booster packs right now on the shelf for Scarlet and Violet, the lowest that I've seen since back in Sun and Moon era, when they were actually doing clearance Pokemon shelves back then. So you can actually go and buy cardboard sleeve blisters now for $340 or $374 or $3.74. Not $300. Don't pay $300. $3.74 a booster pack right now on your Walmart shelves, and it's all of them. I mean, it's not like it's the older Scarlet and Violet base sets. It's everything up to Paradox Rift, and they've even done it in the Sword and Shield. So if you're looking for those Sword and Shield cardboard sleeve packs of Silver Tempest, Lost Origins, they even had Astral Radiance on the shelf the other day. So we're still seeing that product come in and still being available for people on the shelves to be able to purchase right now at a very reasonable price, and overall a very decent purchase, in my opinion, when it comes down to packs. If you can buy them cardboard sleeves and you can buy them for under $4 a pack right now with the increase in price in Scarlet and Violet, you're doing extremely well. There's some really good pricing. I mean, price of booster box right now, we're sub $100, I think, on every single booster box in Scarlet and Violet. Paradox Rift has kind of made a little, or not Paradox Rift, Paldea Evolved has made a movement upward now, but there's no saying it won't get a reprint and then get pushed back down. The other question is, too, in 2024, maybe Mason's hasn't heard some rumors, but I haven't heard anything yet in 2024 coming up about reprints. I know that there's some 151 rumblings that we'll be seeing ETBs and six-pack bundles again, but in general, I have not heard anything about Scarlet and Violet base set, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flame, any of those on any kind of schedule right now for a reprint. I've checked before this live. I went through my normal channels. The only person I have not called yet because of the holidays is my friend that works for a distributor to see if he's heard anything. But in general, we're not hearing much about reprints on these either. So that's one of those things too, that when they start to disappear off your store shelves, is that a sign? Is that a simple way of looking at it that, hey, Walmart's clearing out, GameStop is running out, Target's running out, and the overall TCG, the amount for sale on there that are listed, are starting to fall? Does that mean that you jump on them at that particular time? Because, hey, we're not hearing reprint news. We're 1 year in almost on Scarlet and Violet. We're getting close to the 1 year mark here in the beginning of March, and we still haven't heard any words of any kind of restocks or reprints on that particular set. So once again, we need to be watching the shelves even closer, and it makes it so you have to have that in the back of your head that you're going to be thinking, is there going to be reprints of things that are sitting on the shelves for a long period of time, especially since like Scarlet and Violet base set, Paldea Evolved, and even Obsidian Flame. The Charizard deck is out there. A Charizard EX deck is being used for playability. But in general, the first two sets really don't have very many playing decks currently that I've seen. We're seeing some Charizard decks from Obsidian Flame. We're seeing a Paradox Rift ones now starting to become playable. So they're starting to get some playability in those two sets. And if that happens, those would be the more likely candidates for reprints, not the base set or Paldea Evolved, just because of the fact that there isn't much playability to it. And there's still no scarcity of that particular product on any shelf. Even the distributors, when I talked to them before, still had products sitting on the shelf. They're ready to ship if anybody were to order it. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities to be watching for. And 2024 is going to be really interesting to see how this continues on through that year and how things continue to move forward And like I said, the other part is too, is as an investor, it's going to be a longer haul. You're not going to be able to get those flips. It's going to, I think even next year, some people aren't going to want to hear it, but the graded card flips, I think, are going to really slow down, because if you do get a product that has something that's gradable, such as that Pokemon Collections, the pricing's going to drop so fast on those particular items once the first one's graded, that it's going to become more and more difficult to pick the right cards, and you're going to have to pay the faster grading service in order to be able to keep up with that demand and be ahead of it and get the opportunities to get those particular shots and get those actual top of the mountain pricing, versus getting caught in that race to the bottom and that fall as it continues to go down. Once again, guys, I just want to give a quick little recap. Of course, tomorrow we're going to be having the 5 best Pokemon sealed investments from 2023. And then on Friday, we're going to do the 5 best singles from 2023. And someone asked me to do some Japanese in there, if I could do like the top 3 Japanese. So I might do like a quick little short, or I'll incorporate it into that singles one too. So it'll be really interesting and fun to see if I can pull that off. I'm trying to figure out a way to pull it off, because I mainly do English. I mean, I watch the Japanese market here and there, and I try and stay up with it just so I know what's going on. But in general, I am mainly English, and I do buy and do some things in, Japanese just for fun, and I dabble in it, but it's really not my profession when it comes down to the Pokemon investing side of things. So there we go, guys. That's going to be my rant. Like I said, I try and keep it to about a 20-25 minute rant. I went about 20 minutes on that one. Hopefully it kind of gets your brain stirring a little bit. And then in the comments below, let me know, or in the comments, let me know in the chat, what do you guys think of the overall view of 2024? Do you think that we're going to see something explosive? Is Paldean Fates going to be enough to blow the market up and all of a sudden get people moving again? And I think some of the new people, I think it'll do really well. I think Paldean Fates will have an opportunity to see people that are joined in 151. So you got those, a lot of members have joined the hobby in 151 that I think will maybe have a lot of fun in Paldean Fates, just because it's new. They haven't seen a shiny set before. There's all that hype and the really cool cards and the baby shinies and stuff. But my worry is too, is that even like myself, I think it's going to be fun at first, but I think it's just going to feel like deja vu. This is going to be the 3rd set now that I'm going to be opening that has baby shinies and full art shinies. And it's not, to me, going to be as much of a chase any longer. I mean, I think it's going to be something that's going to be fun to open. I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to open probably way too much of it, just like we always do. But in general, I feel like it's going to become kind of just a constant reminder, a constant, okay, this is what's going on. This is what we have. And we've seen this before. We've got similar cards. We've got similar, starters. We got Charmander in here and Charmeleon. Again, just like Hidden Fates. And it's going to be kind of cool to see them. Going to be fun to open. Going to be fun to chase that Charizard for a little bit. But in general, my only concern is it's going to become old really quick for the OGs. Some people who are back from 2019. Even ones came back in 2020. But I feel that anybody that's new that just came back in 2023 with Pokemon 151 might have a blast with it. It's a fun set. If you've never opened a set like that, or opened up Shining Fates or Hidden Fates, don't do it. Go to Paldea Evolved and enjoy the set. I think you'll have a lot of fun opening up a new baby shiny set, chasing them baby shinies, chasing that shiny Charizard in there. I definitely think that that's going to be a really fun time for those new people coming into the hobby. But otherwise, let me know in the comment or in the chat. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen in 2024? Let's discuss it a little bit. Kind of interested to hear what you guys think are going to happen. I'm going to try and catch up with the chat a little bit here, because I know I got the first few people, and then I started on my rant, and now I'm back. We got Grim the Nerd. Thank you very much for joining. Greatly appreciated for you coming in. Once again, always enjoy having you in the chat. We got Gimbo Slice. I'm wondering if PC ETBs are still auto buys or just certain sets. It's kind of interesting, because most of them disappeared really quick up until Paradox Rift. Even Obsidian Flame, Paldea Evolved, and the Scarlet and Violet ones disappeared extremely fast. Like within a day, they were gone. So I don't know if people are having those on auto buys. 151, of course, was less than 20 minutes. I think it was sold out. So that one was definitely on a bot sale. But I don't know if that's actually a thing any longer, or if it's starting to kind of simmer down on that factor, because Paradox Rift I was able to get fairly easily. It wasn't hard for me to get that one. City and Flame, I never even really seen it. It wasn't up there very long. It was like a day, and I wasn't able to get to my computer, and I kind of forgot about it, and I missed on Obsidian Flame. And then Paradox Rift, I know I had less than a day. It's like I bought it, and I bought two, and I went, well, I kind of want to buy another one because I liked the ETB. I thought it was really cool looking ETB. It looked really, really nice with the 3 starters on it and how flashy it was and things like that. And I went back the next day and it was gone. Mason Berry, thank you, Mason, for joining. Decent rant, Andy, on his Pokey. Yeah, I try to do a PK-ish thing every Tuesday, just a little bit different. I don't follow him exactly, but I definitely try and just do these little rants and have these discussions because it's really fun to do, and just it makes your brain think. It brings out that good thought processes when it comes down to investing and the market and what's currently happening. And people really do like putting in the chats their point of views, which is always really nice. iFOMO, once again, thanks. Let's see, iFOMO. Yeah, my plugs thinks. Okay, let's see, iFOMO. Kevin Clear, PK could put some GPS trackers in with the yeah, just to see where they go. Aaron, thanks for joining. Aaron, greatly appreciate it for you to come in once again. Always enjoy having you in the chat. In my 2024 collecting goals is to add 100 booster boxes. I'm far too heavy in singles. Need to add some sealed. Yeah, I like sealed personally, and it depends on your viewing. Once again, if you like singles, stay with singles. If you're good at singles, continue to do singles. There's good opportunities in both markets. If you really are good at doing singles, continue doing it. Sealed's fun. I enjoy sealed. I like sealed product. I like to keep things sealed. That's just my personal preference, just because I like keeping things sealed, and I find it easy to keep things sealed. I don't have a problem doing that, and for some people, that's just not possible. They love to open everything. And if you love opening things, keeping sealed around is going to be very difficult. You're going to want to chase whatever's inside of there. And the chances of you being able to keep it sealed is going to be really hard in the long run. So I'm not going to say, you should switch or add some. Does it hurt to put booster boxes away for that long term? No, not at all. I don't think that there's a bad thing to do that. But if you have a problem keeping things sealed and you're more into the singles, you want those chase cards and you want to be able to build that singles collection, you could find yourself in trouble trying to switch over and take advantage of some of the sealed product also. Aaron, that's going to be like $1,000 a month, and that's for lower end. Yeah, it will be pretty expensive to get up to that point. Because you have it's about 500. If you go to the low end right now, about $500 roughly, for a case of booster boxes, and that's 6. So yeah, you're going to add up pretty quickly to be getting there in order to get 100. But it depends how much money you have too, expendable money you have. Aaron, yeah. Give a slice. I'd rather try and wait for reprints to buy sealed so I don't have to sit on it for long or even pay a bit more. Yeah, and I mean, that's just it. You could sit there and wait for reprints. That's my thing is that do we see a lot of reprints of the first couple sets of an era? Typically, no, we really don't. And that's the factors is that we have too many people that are stuck in their ways. They don't want to change. They don't want to go into the new era. And people kind of miss it. Plus, usually the game mechanics don't catch on for the first couple sets. Usually about the 4th, 5th set, we start seeing like some new dynamic. Something new will show up in the sets. We look at it, even at this point, we were getting amazing rares. We're coming up right about now in Sword and Shield. And then you're going to get, of course, midway through, hard to believe, we're already getting into that midway point of Scarlet and Violet, where we'll be starting to see maybe a new mechanic or another new card type coming up. So yeah, it's going to be, it could wait longer. I don't think there's any rush currently on like Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet base set or, even Obsidian Flame, those kind of sets. I don't think that there's a huge rush, but I would definitely be watching them because even on reprints, I don't see them dropping sub $75. I mean, you could pick up base set, you can pick up, Obsidian Flame, all that for sub $80. And even on a reprint, it's going to be hard for me to believe that we're going to see sub $70 sets because I don't even think XY Evolutions went that low when it came down to reprints and that. There's a certain point on where an LGS or an LCS such as Mason can lose money, and there's a certain point where you just lose too much and you might as well just sit on it and wait, because then you hope the market corrects and you have a chance, or something in that set becomes popular or valuable, and that could be a reason for that set to all of a sudden take off. And you might be hoping for those things to occur inside of there before you sell way too low. Unless you absolutely need money, you have zero to no chance of recouping that money, and you just need, cash flow in your business, maybe. But it gets really difficult on a business to take a $30 to $40 loss on a booster box from an actual distributor cost. Let's see here. Where was I at? Yep. So David Glenn, thank you for joining, David. I've always tried to keep it simple. Buy when people are selling. Targeting great sets. Sell when people are buying after products dry up 2 to 3 years later. Yeah, that's a very simple way of doing it. That's why even my last video, the biggest thing is I even talked about, David, was even buying, Scarlet and Violet, buying Obsidian Flame, buying, Paldea Evolved, all of which were, to me, the lowest bottom pricing, and you're buying when people are running away from it. They're telling you not to buy. People are scared of it because Scarlet and Violet's falling apart, and it's just a reciprocating cycle over and over and over again. We run into these cycles, and we continually run these cycles, and these cycles continue to happen all the time, and yet people continually sit there and act the opposite of what they really should be in that particular market. And that's a factor when you're looking at the overall perception in Pokemon. Is we always have reciprocating markets. We have them go up, we have them go back down, we have them go up again. And in general, you sit there and you definitely want to be buying in at the low point. When people are running out of something, typically, unless the company is going out of business, unless you see a huge decline in, people buying TCG, the collectors are all leaving, Pokemon's claiming bankruptcy and that kind of stuff, then it might be time to pull out and take your losses where you can. But if you're seeing still a strong IP, you're seeing one of the biggest IPs when it comes to a TCG out there, and you see product really cheap right now just because of overprinting, changing in hobby, economy changes, all these things are occurring. To me, I'm buying those lower end sets because, number one, I can buy a bunch of them at a really low price. Compared to Evolving Skies or some of these other very expensive sets, you can get into some of these Scarlet and Violet sets at a really low price. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not buying Sword and Shield sets. I am, as I'm seeing good pricing, or if I can use my discounts and things like that, I'm definitely taking advantage of that while I can. I'm not saying don't look at those and keep an eye on them, but if you're looking for a buy it now and you're just trying to build a position in something in Pokemon, if you're beginning in Pokemon investing in sealed and you're not necessarily looking at having a ton of money, you don't have a nest egg built up, you don't have a bunch of backup reserves, should you be buying one box of Evolving Skies, or should you potentially be buying one of each one of the sets currently of Scarlet and Violet? To me, I would rather spread it between 4 different sets than necessarily put it all in Evolving Skies, because Evolving Skies might be stagnant for a long period of time, while these newer sets have a better or a good opportunity to potentially go up, at least one of them, and possibly outperform Evolving Skies in the next 2 to 3 years, just because of that price mindset. The more expensive something gets, the harder it is to sell. You start to become more solid. It becomes less of a liquid investment as something gets more expensive, because even myself, impulse buying is easy under $200. I can impulse buy under $200 all day long. When you start getting close to $500 for something, it's no longer an impulse buy. It starts to become a thought process of, am I ready to buy this? Should I buy this? Is there something better? Should I, there's always these thoughts that go into it. And if you can get items that are less, but get better, gains percentage wise, you're still doing better off in the long run. Yeah, it may not be Evolving Skies, the best set of Sword and Shield, but it could definitely give you a little bit of an edge as a beginner to not risk as much, be able to spread further and put more positions in better and more places. Let's see. We're going to go here. Gimbo, do you think there's too many products and sets now so that there's a lot of redundancy? No. When it comes down to sets, we haven't really changed in sets almost since the beginning. There's always usually one set per quarter. The only thing that was added in, probably, geez, it's already been a few years already at this point in time, is holiday sets. We used to get some holiday sets, even back in the day. You used to get holiday items every once in a while, where they had, like the Southern Islands set and things like that. So honestly, the amount of sets that we're getting is not any different than what it's ever been. Even back in the day, not much has changed when it comes down to that. The products have its pluses and minuses. Now, I did a video recently on that where I was talking about, I basically, when I look at it, I have, for sealed investment, I have the standard items. So I'm talking ETBs and I'm talking booster boxes. Those are really the two items that I concentrate on personally all the time, because even though there's all these other items, and once again, you got to look at it from a company's aspect. They're going to constantly change the packaging type. They're going to constantly change the options. They're going to constantly change how many packs are in each one of these options, because the thought process is, and you look at it from a company, is they're trying to sell product, and sometimes changing the product style or changing what's available, changing the price point, moving, putting in a different promos and something flashy inside of these things could draw another customer, draw another crowd of customers that's going to benefit the company and get more products, which is good for you too as an investor, because they're selling more packs, they're selling more product, which means you're going to see a little bit of an increase on the amount of product leaving, which could actually be a benefit to you also. But if you stay to really the base products and you really stay to the core products, which right now, like I said, are booster boxes and ETBs, and now I'm actually adding in them six-pack bundles. I think that's going to be another one of those really good core items that's going to do extremely well over time. So those are really the three things that I focus on. If I buy, like V boxes, or if I buy, any of those EX boxes or anything like that, even Pokeballs, my intention is I strip them down. I'm looking for the packs inside of those particular products. I don't really want the cardboard and the plastic garbage laying around, because it just takes up space. And I can condense that down to just the packs, because more than likely in the future, the box is going to be worth more in the packs than the actual box itself. At least historically is what we've seen. Some have done really well. Charizard boxes. I kept like a couple of those Pikachu Zegron boxes, the Charizard Reshiram box, those type of things that are kind of exclusive, and also a really cool like collector's box. Those are things that are really good to keep intact, at least some of them. I've also stripped them down because, like the Pikachu Zegron box, I picked them up on clearance at GameStop, and they have Evolving Skies. They have 3 Evolving Skies packs in them, which right now is already almost over half of the price of the box itself. So, yeah, the pricing on them really does vary, and stripping them down a lot of times rather than taking up the airspace is definitely better. But, yeah, to me, Pokemon can make as many products as they want. Realistically, if you're looking at it as investments, stay to the core. If you stay with core investments and you really concentrate on booster boxes, ETBs, and those 6-pack bundles, I think in general, if you make those your core investments, if you buy anything else, you're stripping it for parts all the way down to maybe the promo cards and the packs, and get rid of the cardboard and plastic, you're definitely going to be better off in the end. And that, when you do that, the actual amount of products and the redundancy in products really isn't an issue any longer. David Glenn, I mean, there's been plenty of opportunities to buy sleeve booster packs for $2, booster boxes with coupons for $70. I mean, I got a ton of Lost Origins ETBs for like $16 with the piece with coupons. Yeah, and there have been absolutely really good pricing on that fact. I mean, we even had Silver Tempest at $2 for a little bit there. It's still under $3 per loose pack. But yet the booster boxes are still doing higher than that. Same with Lost Origins. I mean, there's a couple other booster packs that were running around that $2 range. And that's still really crazy pricing. And once again, I think that that's really good buys. And if they're that low, sleeve booster packs, they tend to run a little bit higher than the $2 booster or the actual blank unprotected booster packs, just because of the fact that, people feel more secure when they're in a product. In general, they do. Cardboard sleeves definitely give people almost like a false sense of security in them, because let's be honest, it's just cardboard, and all the cardboard's pretty similar. You're hoping on a little difference in glue in order to mess up the weight. So is that really happening? I don't know. I don't think that that's really a big factor when it comes down to it. So yeah, I mean, there's always great opportunities. I've been selling stuff on TikTok too, and let's be honest, out of my sales side of the business, I've been selling, Lost Origins booster boxes. I've been selling Evolving Skies ETBs. I mean, people were just getting steal of a deal on them Evolving Skies ETBs when I was selling them through the coupons on Black Friday. So I had one box and I was just selling one box of them that I had on my business side now for TikTok for selling. And let me tell you, I was selling them for $85 and people were getting them with them coupons for like $52 delivered. It's like, that's crazy to get those boxes sealed from me with a coupon for under $50, and they're selling right now in the open market for $85. It was just nuts to watch how that went, and TikTok had some killer deals. Lost Origins ETBs, once again, I saw them going for $16 to $17 a piece pretty consistently. I just bought a Paradox Rift, so for ripping and shipping, I bought a Paradox Rift booster box, and I paid $53 for that booster box delivered. So once again, the pricing is just killer when it comes down to the coupons that are available. But the other factor is too, is that we're coming to the end of the holiday season, and those coupons are going to dry up, and they're going to be a little bit more difficult to find even on TikTok. Dave Glenn, but like you said, you have to be smart on what you buy and when you buy it. Exactly, and that's all it comes down to, is just having that mental clarity when it comes down to it. What we got? Grim the Nerd, Paldean Fates. Took quite a bit longer to sell out. Less demand, or do you think they printed a ton of them after seeing the movement 151 brought back to the hobby? I think they printed more of them because them Pokemon Center ETBs, and they got to remember, it's like 151. They don't have a booster box, so the ETBs tend to be a bigger driving factor. Do I think it's going to be as popular as Pokemon 151 or Scarlet and Violet 151 Pokemon Center ETBs? No, I don't think they're going to be that popular. So I think they definitely printed probably as many as they did for 151 and for Paradox Rift. They upped it a little bit just because of the fact that it is a holiday set. It's a shiny set. It's a baby shiny set. And I think they printed more of it. So it took a little bit longer for them to go through and burn them up. But once again, it's okay. I think that there's plenty of them out there, and there'll be plenty of demand for those Pokemon Center ETBs for Paldean Fates. I think it's a really cool ETB. Plus the collecting factor of that particular one, I think it's going to look great on my shelf. I'm actually looking forward to putting that one right back here on my shelf. I think that that's going to be a really, kick-ass ETB sitting there with that purple, with the liner, with the Mimikyu on it. I think it's a really sweet-looking ETB when it comes down to the overall looks and the appeal for even a collector when it comes down to that particular product. Let's see. Grim the Nerd. Oh, already did that. Sorry. Coral, top 5 investable sets from Sword and Shield. Of all time or currently, I guess. If I'm going to go currently, Lost Origins, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars would be all of my top. Fusion Strike is right there. And I'd be watching currently for Chilling Reign also. I think all five of those are really, really strong sets. I like Fusion Strike a little bit. Chilling Reign I like the best just because of the amount of potential hits there are on that particular set. Fusion Strike is a hard second, but actual Fusion Strike has a ton of hits that people don't even realize that they're in there. People forget that that's a set that they're in, such as that Galarian Rapidash. I mean, it's a good example right there. Overall, I definitely think that those are right now my top 5 Sword and Shield sets. Once again, they're mainly at the end of the era, which is where I'm looking at where we're going to be going here in 2024 as we get to the second half of the year, what we're going to see. MC, thanks for joining. Sorry, late to the party. Sounds like Fusion, Chilling, Evolving, Battle Styles going out of rotation soon and presumably out of print. Thoughts? Oh, definitely. I think that they're all pretty much out of print at this point in time. They'll be out of rotations, I think, at this Worlds in August, so this will be their last run for them to be used. Or did they go out of rotation? Am I going out of rotation? I don't remember. I think that they're actually out of rotation this year. I think, no, this is their last Worlds. I'm just trying to get my year straight. So, yes, this will be the year they go out of rotation here in August. So we'll be completely out of those in rotation. And so then we will be out of there. Presumably, I'd be really watching, Chilling Reign. Evolving Skies, I don't think that the rotation thing is going to change much on it. Just because, once again, the price is getting extremely high. And that's definitely going to be a factor when it comes down to not being an impulse buy any longer. It's going to become more of a well thought out plan tactic when it comes for that. Did I skip you? I didn't skip you. Huh. I just saw you pop up. No, I never skipped you shirtless white YouTube. I did too. I added to that. Unless you put another comment and it's not showing up. Anyways, those ones going out of print, I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference. Battle Styles, once again, doesn't have a lot of strength to it. Fusion and Chilling Reign, I would definitely be watching a little bit more. I would definitely be watching those two in particular. That Gengar, that Espeon, once again, really, really hot cards in that particular set. In Chilling Reign, you've got that Blaziken, you've got, of course, that Galarian Rapidash, you've got that Gold Snorlax. All of those are really, really strong cards in that particular set. Like I said, Evolving Skies to me is already tapped out for a little bit. I think we're not going to see much change when it comes down to the overall performance on that particular set until later on down the road. It's going to take a little bit more aging on that set at this point to see some really explosive maneuvers out of that one. Hey, Derek, thanks for joining. Once again, always appreciated to have you on the chats. Let's see, MC, yeah, for sure. I'm mostly focusing on picking up these recent SV boxes well under 100, but also looking on average for some Sword and Shield boxes going out of print. Exactly, that's what I've been doing a lot of. Definitely taking advantage of those coupons on Sword and Shield boxes. You know, TikTok's got some really good deals, had some really good deals, and it's really nice to pick them up. MC, I agree. I'm pretty much doing booster cases moving forward for storage reasons other than specific specialty sets where you have to buy ETBs. Okay, let's see. Kanto Green, do you think sending Express to PSA have better chances of PSA 10? That's what I don't know. You know, the thing is that if I'm doing Express, let's look at it from a psychological point of view. If you're sending bulk, are your tendencies to maybe just take a risk? You take a lot of cards, and even you hear a lot of guys that are sitting there sending this stuff Express and sending it bulk. They will literally sit there, and you hear them say it all the time. I'm sending these cards Express because I'm sure they're going to get 10s. I'm going to send these ones in bulk because they're cheaper. And I don't know if they're going to get PSA 10s. They might. They should, but they might not. So they send them, they send them into the bulk. We saw that with the collections. We heard a lot of people say that when they were sending those collections in. I think it's more of a psychological game. You tend to really, really nitpick and go over the card with a fine-tooth comb, really dig into it really strong, and really get into that card before you send it Express, because you're paying a premium, a higher grading tier. You're gonna take a very, very good look, in-depth look at a card. If you don't think it's gonna get a 10, if you're questioning that 10, you're gonna knock it out and go back to bulk. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I think it's more of a psychological thing than it is an actual difference in it. It's just the way that it looks. I think it's just the way it looks, and that's just the tendency of people when they're paying more money to have things graded is that they really deep dive into it harder and really examine things deeper before they actually pull the trigger and send it into that higher tier. Give a slice. I took advantage of the TT deals, but the coupons weren't going to be that crazy forever. No, they weren't. And that's where I think it's the holiday season. TikTok's been really, really, really growing, trying to grow that platform, that shop, and they've been doing a lot of things out of their expense in order to maintain that growth and get that growth and continue to get that growth. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't going to last forever. We kind of all knew that. And I think that was a really big factor for us when it came down to it, is we knew that was not going to be a forever thing. It was going to be a short-lived deal, and it was going to go away. All right, let's see. What's it doing? Let's see. We got MC. I still can't find the TT shop, LOL. Doesn't appear on my app or on my desktop. Really? So if I go on my app, I'm just going to show you real quick just so you can find it. Because I know if you have the phone app, I don't know if you have, Android, or if you have Apple. but it's literally right here above my finger on the bottom. It's right next to it's right to the left side of your X, or the plus sign on the app. There's like a shopping bag in there, and that's actually where you can find the shop. That's all the shops. You can search. You can go to people's sites too that are on there and actually do that also. So there's a couple different advantages, or a couple different places you can get to it. Let's see. iFOMO. I like the 151 pop reports. Yeah, they're looking really good. Yeah, Apple. I think the app's the same way. So look at the bottom of the screen. There's usually looks like a little handbag for the icon, and then you go in there and that's your shop. Phantom X mods. I know you have to search shops in the search bar. Had to do that on my mom's phone when I made the account for her to buy Pokemon. Yeah, it may be, and that could be an Apple thing. Mine, it's just always been right on the bottom. So I never even really had to search for it. It just was there on my Android. So shirtless YT, yo, you skip. Why you skipped me? Like I said, I don't have it on my chat screen. I don't know where it went, because I'm looking through here. The only one I've got that you said previously is what's going on. That's going to be like $1,000 a month, and that's the only thing I've seen from you. So I can answer that though. I have no problem. I'll get you. I asked about ETBs. If they don't reprint, how do you think collectors will value them over ETBs? The chat might have hidden the message for some. Yeah, it might have. If you're talking about the PC ETBs, to me, are always going to have a little bit more prestige than the regular ETBs. The ETBs, to me, are going to continue to run into the problem. I think this is 2024 once again. As we get further in the Scarlet and Violet, we're going to continue to see the same trends. And the trends is that they're going to continue to reprint ETBs. And the reason being is there are more avenues, more areas that they can go with for selling those. Walmart will sell ETBs. GameStop will sell ETBs. Target will sell ETBs. The gas station will sell ETBs. Your grocery store will sell ETBs. But they will not sell booster boxes. They don't want the responsibility of booster boxes. Booster boxes are, theft-wise, are a disaster. If someone steals an ETB, yeah, they're going to get $50, like 40, right now, what are they, like $45 or $40 currently on sale for some of the ETBs. But if they get a booster box, that's a large sum of money. So I think overall, you're going to continue to see them pushing ETBs. And that's why the Pokemon Center ETBs will continue to go up in price. They're going to continue to do really well. They're going to continue to be the driving force when it comes down to ETBs. But I definitely think that you're going to see regular ETBs continue this battle like we used to see with booster boxes back in Sun and Moon. This up and down battle. You'd see a booster box starting to gain traction, and Pokemon would reprint it and crush it. And then they'd start getting traction, and Pokemon would sit there and reprint it and crush the pricing. That was the number one way that they've reprinted back from Sword and Shield and before. And ETBs are fairly new. They only came out in black and white. So they'd only been out for 2 eras. And then in Sword and Shield, it's like it clicked for Pokemon that, hey, we can actually sit here and sell these anywhere. Why don't we start printing these ETBs? And that got to be a continuation and continue to move forward. And I think that's what we're going to continue to see when it comes down to the overall ETB scheme. Pokemon Center ETBs are going to either have one big big print when they release, and they're going to sell out, or whatever happens to them, and then we're going to see them kind of go up in price. You might see a restock or a small reprint of them, and then it'll drop a little bit, and then they'll just let them go after that point, because they are making them a little bit more exclusive than they were in Sword and Shield now in Scarlet and Violet. Let's see. Gimple Slice. Do you think 120 to 130 is too much to pay for Sword and Shield sets if you can't get them cheaper? No, absolutely not. I know there's that big argument out there. And if you are an investor so let's say there's 2 perspectives you can look at. If you're an old investor, if you've been in this hobby for the last 4 years and you didn't buy these sets when they were $110, $105, $100, yes, you missed the bus. I get it. And that's the big argument is that one at 100, and you didn't buy it at 100. You let it go and you said, I wasn't ready to buy it at 100. If you didn't buy it at 100, why are you looking at it at 130 all of a sudden? That would be my first perspective. And yeah, you missed the bus. But if you're newer and you really like the Sword and Shield sets and you think that they're really going to do well, you enjoy them. You see a lot of other people enjoying them, such as Lost Origins and Astral Radiance, Brilliant Stars. I don't see a problem with buying them from 130. 120, 130 is not too much to pay for those boxes. I could see every one of these Sword and Shield boxes getting up there close to that 200 mark in the next few years without any real issues. Within 3 to 5 years, you're going to see most of these boxes crossing 200 pretty easily. That's just my opinion, not any data, not crystal ball, just that's my feelings on those particular ones. But I would definitely not be uncomfortable buying them at 120, 130. I think that there's really good advantages to those particular boxes. And I think in general, they're really, really clean cards. The alternate art galleries in those are really great. The trainer galleries in them are really strong. Lost Origins has a very strong trainer gallery on top of the, really, really good Tina art inside of there. That Garantina is really, really nice, and it's going to continue to draw a premium, I think, futuristically on that particular set. So once again, if you didn't buy it and you let it go, I don't know why you'd be looking. You weren't willing to pay 100, 105 for it, and you're waiting now. I don't know why you'd be wanting to buy it at 130. Why all of a sudden that's the comfortable point after it went up 30, $20 to $30. But if you are newer and just want to get in on it, yeah, I think you're still good. I think it's still a good price, and I see some really good growth in the next 3 to 5 years on every one of those sets. iFOMO, do you guys see the felt hat Pikachu that's sold in a PSA 10 sealed in the wrapper? No, I did not see that one. So basically, they didn't grade the Pikachu, they graded the wrapper it was in. That's kind of funny. That's a heck of a way to get a PSA 10. I think that's a really good one. That's actually, that was a really, really smart move. I think that was a really big out of the box thought process there going instead, because they really didn't grade the card then. They just graded the wrapper it was in, technically. If they left it in the wrapper when they sent it, they graded the packaging. So, yeah, that's an interesting way to get a PSA 10, and that might be a really interesting way to confuse the overall sales on that one for sure. Kanto Green, if you could only choose one card in your most valuable cards, what would it be? My most valuable card. Now you talking. So this is where you could get into the debate. What is value? What do you consider value? Now, is it personal value, such as which one means the most to me? Or is it the fact that you're looking at the actual monetary value of it? Because for personal value, I got the card sitting right here. So, and it was great. So for the Professor Oak's Discord, I got this one. So I got the PSA 9 Dark Flareon. Now, I love it. I love that it increased my value on this card. But the thing is that I have is that this card here is a PSA 7 version of it. But this one holds more value to me, and I'll explain why, is because this was my own card. I took this out of one of my binders from when I was a kid, when I was younger, playing Pokemon, and I actually graded this one because I thought it was really nice. I thought it was in good condition. It's got a couple nicks, and I knew it would. I didn't actually think it'd get a 7. I thought it would get more higher than a 7. I was hoping for an 8 at least, if not a 9. Because really, there's not a lot of dings. There's a couple. The one thing that I think got me the most on it is the back has a couple scratches on it. So, but when it comes down to it, this card here has more value to me than this card. Yes, I appreciate that someone from the Discord got me. I will not say anything bad to that. I love it. I think it's greatly appreciated. It's great for my collection, but this one holds more value, and I will not be selling this one. This one is more for me just because it's my own personal card. So there's a big difference when it comes down to it, in my opinion, on monetary value. If you're looking at monetary value and I'm looking at the price on that, then probably my most valuable card, is I don't have it here, is going to be my Mewtwo, which is my first edition base set Mewtwo in a PSA 10. That's going to be my most valuable monetary valued card. But nostalgic reasons, that one's probably one of my favorite. I got a lot of my childhood cards that have a lot more value than that Mewtwo, just because personally they have that nostalgic value to me and my personal value to it. Randy, what do we got here? Thanks for joining, Randy. Do you think I should cash out on my 7 Champions Path ETBs for $60 each and move them into Crown Zenith case? No, I wouldn't be selling them at $60 a piece. No offense. I think that there's more value in them. I mean, I got them back here and I've been selling them on TikTok for 100 to 110 all day long. So I wouldn't be sitting there and going left for $60 a piece unless you're outside the United States. But no, I think that there's number 2. I think it's a great Charizard set. It's a great Charizard hunt. Overall, it's just like anything with age, it's starting to stagnate a little bit. But I think overall, I think when it comes down to it, Champion's Path has still got some really good value behind it with the Charizard, got that Chinese Charizard and that Rainbow Charizard chase inside of that particular set. If the prices on those start to go up, you're going to see the value of Champion's Path go up to chase that. MC, do you expect to get another Evolving Skies type banger set in Scarlet and Violet era? This possibly is why I don't mind pre-ordering boxes of every set for a good price, of course. I think that they will. Personally, I think that there's going to be another Evolution set. Personally, I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see if and when they add more Evolutions. That's going to be the one thing that I'm really excited to see if they're going to do, because I honestly think that that's going to be a really banger thing if they add more Evolutions and give more adaptations for it, because it's been a few years. We haven't had any Evolutions added in. So at what point are they going to? And when they do, what kind of typing are they going to give them? And that could be a huge, huge banger set if they were to do that as like an Evolving Skies set where we do an Evolution set on top of new Evolutions putting into that set and maybe mix in some other things into it too. I think you could definitely see a banger set like that in Scarlet and Violet coming our way here in the later half. Yeah, you have Apple. Yep. Coral, should I get more of the late Sword and Shield sets rather than the Scarlet and Violet booster boxes to invest? Like I said, Coral, it really just depends on you and what your trajectory is. I think that if you can get some good deals on the later sets, the later Sword and Shield sets, I definitely would take advantage of them. 130 and less, I think I'd be jumping on them. But overall, for gains, the further you get ahead and the further you get out away from the price points, you can definitely see that actually changing that variation too. So you might be running into an issue where the Scarlet and Violets, if they start moving up, could actually move up with more value quicker just because of the fact that they are less price and it takes a lot less money for them, a lot less upheaval in order for them to double. If you can buy them at 80, you only got to go to 160 to double that price. Or if you want to just get a 50% gain and you're at $70 currently, you only got to get up to $115 and you've already gone 50% value. So you're not even to the price of these things and you're already seeing value changes that are really high. Now, the question is are they going to perform that well and are they going to get reprints? And that's all going to be factors that we need to watch. But overall, it's really just going to be a judgment call at this point. I'm putting money in both just because personally, I think that I don't want to miss any more of these lower prices on the later Sword and Shield set. So as I can pick them up and nab some of them for under 130, I'm doing it. But I am starting to buy quite a few booster boxes of the Scarlet and Violet too, just because the pricing is so cheap. It's really hard to pass up, $72 booster boxes if you buy a case and $75 booster boxes if you can get a case. So that's all factors too. Be Purple Poker, thanks for joining. Is anyone else loving yellow borders? Yeah, I love yellow borders. Like I said, they definitely could have done differently and melded that a little bit better. There's a place in English for the silver borders, definitely in like the trainer galleries in that area would have been great. The commons, the uncommons, and even the regular hollows they could have left with yellow borders and it would have been great. I appreciate them even more now, yes. I just don't feel nostalgic about Scarlet and Violet. I don't feel that nostalgia factor to it. They're almost like brand new cards or Japanese completely now. Let's see here. Shirtless YT. I feel like even the poke investors are seriously undervaluing the Sword and Shield boxes. $200 boxes for a phenomenal booster box and 2 to 3 differently. I'm always conservative. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Shirtless. If you follow my channel and if you've been with my channel for a little while, you'd know that I am very conservative on prices. because I would rather give a realistic expectation and give something that could actually almost for sure happen when people are mentally thinking about it than saying that they could be $400. Because could they? Absolutely. They could definitely do it. Will they? It gets to be a little bit more questionable. $200 to me is more of one of those things that you could almost predict that it could do it, but it's more realistic and it's more likely to happen than $400 or $500 booster boxes in 3 to 5 years. So personally, for me, I'm always on the conservative side. When I figure my business stuff, when I'm figuring the farm, I'm always running conservative numbers, and that conservatism always comes out in my videos. I'm always giving conservative numbers. And that I will always continue to do that. So if you're watching my channel, I'm not going to make everything sound like it's going to the moon. It's going to be more realistic, you know, what I could perceive happening. If you figure 20% per year increases or overall, that's what I'm going to be looking at. Oh, there we go. iPhone will put it up. The last call. So last call for Sword and Shield. Plus, it's going to be last call for questions here. I'm already running over my hour, so I'm going to finish up the questions. So I see there's one more past iFOMO's last call there. So this is going to be last call for questions. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the ones that I got here, and then we will continue on. Stuff like Lost Origins Fusion Strike will be 250 at least in 2-3, and they very well could be. I could definitely see 250 being a really reasonable number. My conservative side is still $200 is probably the most conservative point at that point in time. You know, if you look 20% per year for the next 2 to 3 years. James from Alamo City. Thanks for joining, James. Always glad to see you in the chat. Missing the yellow borders as well. Yep. Ever since the MPC took over Millennium Print Group, along with the silver border changes, the QC is hit or miss. Yep. If the QC drives me crazy because you'll find cards that have the exact same stupid mark down every one of them. The hollows will all have the same nick on the edge. The, secret rares and the ARs will all have the same corner damage. You can tell it's a processing issue, and they just don't care. They're printing so fast and cutting so many that they're not paying attention to the quality anymore, and that's definitely going to be a factor. So, yeah, I absolutely agree that since Millennial Print Group's taken over and Pokemon just seems to just punch everything through, we're seeing a lot more QC issues that they're just not adjusting to correct. Phantom X mods. I see the MetaZoo Walmart hangers on your shelf. Thoughts on the MetaZoo market. I hate to hurt anybody's feelings, especially Basic Trainer. If you watch this later, Basic, I'm sorry. I just don't see good things for MetaZoo right now. They can't pay out their tournaments. They're having all kinds of issues. They're way behind on set printing, which means that there's just a lot of problems going on with MetaZoo right now. And I think Mason said it best in PK's live overall is it just seems like a TCG that's getting on the death throes now. And that was always my concern with MetaZoo. That's why I really didn't buy anything into MetaZoo. I had a couple first edition boxes, but I even sold those just because I just never had the confidence in MetaZoo like I do even in One Piece. I have more confidence in One Piece than I ever did in MetaZoo. And that's just was my take on it the whole time. Sorry, I just saw it FOMO's. Rest in peace, Basic. I'm sorry, Basic, if you show up. I know you love MetaZoo. I get it. But, there was just a lot of concerns from the beginning. The way it was released was not really organic. It was more targeted towards investing. Even those first edition boxes cruised up so stupid fast that I was always concerned that they were not concentrating on a player base. They were concentrating on selling booster boxes at the highest dollar, and that definitely was a scary factor right at the beginning for me. You could go back to when MetaZoo came out on my first videos. It was always my concern is that I wanted to see, I like seeing TCGs growing an organic base. One Piece growing an organic base. They already had the anime, which is a big leg up for them to begin with, but then they concentrated on the players more than selling booster boxes at super high prices. And that's a huge overall thing when it comes down to it. LWIAY84, I picked up 8 Scarlet and Violet base set booster boxes during the TikTok deals. Yeah, There are some great deals where you get booster boxes with them coupons for under $60 all day long, and it's just crazy. Kanto Green. This card is up for bids. Pokemon Shiny Mewtwo Neo Destiny First Edition Holo Rare. Oh, geez. I don't even want to know what the price of that is currently. That's going to be so... Oh, that's a fantastic... I would love to have that Mewtwo, but I have nowhere near the funding to go after that thing. Your thoughts on the upcoming Paldean Evolves, especially said, in my opinion, it will be better than Shining Fates unless they print it to the ground. Likely to happen. However, will not come close to Hidden Fates. That's kind of where I'm at. The biggest thing is, Shining Fates to me was a good set. It had a really decent set. Then they printed it. And then they printed it again. And then they printed it again. And then they printed it one more time. So there's just so much of it. And honestly, if you look at the pricing of Shining Fates, you can tell people still love to open Shining Fates because that booster box keeps recovering. It gets hit and then it goes down to like $42. And then it crawls back up to $55, $60, and it gets a reprint. It's down to $42. And then it slowly climbs back up to that $55. Then it gets a reprint. It's just like a constant. It's like a whack-a-mole for what it came down to before it came down to reprints. It's like Pokemon went, oh, it's rearing up to come back. Whack. There it goes again. And it was just one of the things we kind of laughed about. It was like whack-a-mole for it. So, yeah, I mean, I think Paldean Fates is really a decent set. I think that especially with the new people that came in, the Gen 1 people were on the fence about Pokemon that joined because of Pokemon 151, I think it's going to be a fun set for them. They're going to have a lot of fun when it comes down to that. Be Purple Poker. What do we got? Kanto Green. Okay, you look... Yeah, looking to get it. Yeah. I'm nowhere near it. I don't have the money for that. Phantom, it's crazy how much MetaZoo has fizzled. Yeah. Hard to predict, but I personally stopped buying. Also buying less Magic now. Pretty much all on Pokemon. Yep, I mean that's kind of the same reasons that I had when it came down to it. Like I said, I'm sorry, Basic. It's not looking all that hot. Pokemon Company International needs more creativity on the set names, and more evolutions will help the sets. Please, Pokemon, yeah. No more Zards. I'm done with Zards. They could go all next year with no Zards. If 2024 did not have a Zard in it, it would not hurt my feelings. I am so tired of Zards and everything. And I agree, like I just said, I think new evolutions would be freaking hot. Especially, it depends on the typing. I want to see a ghost type. Give me a ghost type evolution. That would be sweet. Ghost type and a steel type. There we go. That's the two typings we need to add in. Because we got fairy, we got psychic. We need a ghost and a steel type. Let's see. James and Alamo City. The Japanese did it right with the tan backing, and the Pokemon International Company focused on changing the color scheme on the back first versus the borders. Is it me, or does it seem like Scarlet and Violet era card stock is? It is. We've had that discussion on the last live. Yeah, it definitely is a lot more flimsy. It feels like even holos. We were talking about them. How even them sitting on my desk here, if I walk away from a holo for more than a couple hours out of the pack, it cups, it chips, it becomes really, really ugly quick. Let's see. MC, I personally love Fusion. I love Gengar and Mew. Also think that Sylveon Hit looks amazing in the set. Yeah, exactly. I think that Fusion's a really good pickup when it comes down to Sword and Shield. I think that has a lot to offer in it, along with Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign's got a lot to offer in it also. James from Alamo City, thanks for the great live. And everyone sub and smash the button. Exactly. Smash that like button before you leave. I see we got a few people that have not hit that like button. Greatly appreciated as we close out the live. Pantheon Mods. Yeah, for sure. I stopped buying MetaZoo a while ago. Love watching the market and the drama. Yeah, that's what it was. A lot of that. MetaZoo isn't running right, and they will go under. Matter of time. Yeah, I kind of agreed with Mason on that one. The more you watch it, the more you kind of saw what was going on. It was my concern with MetaZoo for quite a long time. Yeah, let's see. MC, hi FOMO. Let's see. James in Alamo City. I bought 3 with the blue bottom OP. Yeah, that. See, I did not buy any One Piece. I was kind of watching it. Once again, I don't necessarily jump in on the first stuff, and I'm okay with that. I'm willing to just see how it plays out for a little bit before I want to spend money on it. Pretty solid in Pokemon. I know what I like to do in Pokemon. I have my fingers in Magic somewhat because I played a Magic for quite a while, so I understand even playability, some of the cards and things like that. Even when it comes down to Flesh and Blood, I've been dabbling a little bit for a couple years in Flesh and Blood, just watching it and finding out what's popular, what's not, what their scheme is, and how things work. So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that that's a great buy. I think that blue bottom is going to do really well, but for $230, it's way over that. I think what PK said. Yeah, PK just sold one of his, and it was stupid high. Horizon, they call it meta. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining Horizon. Greatly appreciated for that at the end. Japanese 151 was cheap, like 110 with coupons. Yes, it was. Finco, thanks for joining. Sword and Shield about to explode, bro, to be honest. I think so. You're not bad buying Sword and Shield. I think it'll do extremely well. Overall, it's going to be a really strong nostalgic set. Horizon, Sword and Shield needs more time to marinate before it goes boom. I think it's going to go pretty fast when it goes. I think that there's a lot of nostalgia driven for it behind it. I think the external markets are really going to be a big factor to it. If we get another good, strong U.S. economy again, it's going to go up really fast. Or stimulus check. Stimulus check would do it. I disagree with that, Horizon. I don't think it's a confidence issue in Pokemon. It's just the fact that people are creatures of habit and hate change. And people are starting to warm up to it. And as people are warming up to Scarlet and Violet, we're starting to see more movement on it. It's starting to get a little bit more flex and a little bit more movement on it. I don't think it's necessarily the confidence. It's just the fact that people don't like change. We changed an era, we changed the art, we changed the way things are going, and that's exactly what we're having when it comes down to it. And it will change. People, as it ages, as it continues to go up, you'll see pricing start to move. People aren't having a confidence issue. It's just people will change eventually when they're forced to. Kato Green just got back from Japan, and cards there are so much more expensive than in the US. I was shocked. Yeah, and that's been a big flip because during the boom they were so much cheaper in the US up until like mid 2021. Then all of a sudden they started shooting up because I remember buying battle styles. So I bought Japanese battle styles and I bought 4 of each box, and I think the set was like $70 for the set of battle styles off of eBay. So they were so much cheaper. And that changed extremely fast. Horizon, Metazoo will be impossible to sell, let alone give away. Give your kids some Metazoo for free and watch the reaction. MC Magic. Magic just needs to simplify things like Pokemon. Not have so many different SKUs, variants, cards. Yeah. And the other thing is too, yeah, I mean, you can play Magic cards forever, which is that's the one good thing about Pokemon is that they do go through rotation. They aren't playable for very long, and they continue to get drawn back. Let's see. Pokemon need more unemployment. Yeah, please no more unemployment. Exactly. Stop it. Hasbro just laid off 11 other people too. They are suffering, are effing up. Oh yeah, Hasbro's been effing up for a long time now. It's been a long period of time that we've seen that. All right, guys. James from Alamo. Last thing I'm going to stop at, and then I'm going to have to call it a night here. Vinco, I hate the silver borders, bro. I barely cracked 15 packs of Scarlet and Violet compared to hundreds of Crown Zenith alone. Yeah, and that's the one problem is that even myself, like we said a couple times now, the nostalgia factor just isn't there. It's just not there yet inside of Scarlet and Violet. That's my biggest downside is that I wish they would have kept the yellow borders on the regular hollows and down. If you would have gone for everything higher, like the V, the trainer galleries, the ARs, the IRs, the SIRs, all of those would have been extremely good little driving factors and really good moving up. Horizon, I will accept that I am not always right and appreciate how you answer all the comments. I try to get through all of them. I mean, I don't have huge lives, which is nice because then I have the opportunity to definitely get through most of the comments and be able to discuss them a little bit with everybody and at least put a perspective on them. I mean, that's exactly what I try and do. Vinco Battle Styles US goodbye at $95. I would wait a little bit longer. I think it's going to come down to about 90 personally, Vinco. I think it's still got a little bit of wiggle room down. It's just not that popular of a set. That's the problem. They just don't. It just doesn't have what it takes. If Urshifu were to become very popular, it would do really well. But once again, Urshifu would have to become pretty popular, and that's, yeah, you got the T-Tar in there. That's probably going to be the one thing that's going to drive that up. And Polion might help. I mean, once again, it's all right, but it's definitely not as much of a driving factor as T-Tar. I would honestly just watch and wait a little bit. If you see it start creeping up at around 96, 97, then maybe jump on it. You're not going to miss much at that point, but I would watch. I could definitely see Battle Style still dropping down around that $90. All right, here we go. James from Alamo, the last one for the night. If you invest in one set besides Evolving Skies to investability long term, which one set would you buy based on affordability right now from the Sword and Shield era? Lost Origins, Chilling Reign. Out of the Sword and Shield era, I think the number one that I'm picking up right now is actually Brilliant Stars. Lost Origins is a close second. I kind of flip between those two quite a bit. Brilliant Stars to me is still decently affordable. And that Charizard chase, I think, futuristically will be a big draw when it comes down to Brilliant Stars in the long run. Is it going to outperform Evolving Skies? I don't think it's going to do that ever. But I definitely think that there's that big factor of that alternate art Charizard in that particular set. I think that that's a great chase. I think it's really, really huge. The other question is, the other factor is that Lost Origins has got the Tina. It's got a great trainer gallery in it. It's got the best trainer gallery out of all of the actual last sets of Sword and Shield. When it came down to trainer galleries, it's got the best. The Pikachu gallery in there is by far the best part of it. But overall, I think that alternate art Charizard with that trainer gallery is going to be a little bit more of a chase than Lost Origins. And yeah, I did see down in the comments here, Fusion Strike is definitely probably my third on top of... Third Fusion's probably stuck between that and Silver Tempest. So Fusion Strike and Silver Tempest I put on the same tier just because I think that Lugia has that second gen nostalgia. I like that second gen Lugia. I think that that's a really, really great card. But the trainer gallery is a little bit weaker in Silver Tempest. Fusion Strike has got that great Gengar card. I love the Gengar card. It's got some great Mew cards inside of there. And overall, it's a really, really strong set too with that Sylveon backing everything. So once again, both those sets have a lot going for it. That Lugia, that Silver Tempest, I think a lot of people just kind of discard Silver Tempest because people, when Silver Tempest was pushing, Crown Zenith was already announced. So everybody was on Crown Zenith in that Galarian Gallery. And that was a big factor for Silver Tempest. And I definitely feel that it's kind of slept on, like you just saw on iPhone. I think it's kind of slept on a little bit when it comes down to it. Yeah, and like I said, Lugia is my Arceus. Exactly. To me, Arceus didn't exist until that set came out. Be honest with you. I left Pokemon in 2006, and I never went through Diamond and Pearl. So I did not know who Palkia, Dialga, Giratina, and Arceus were until Legends Arceus started getting announced. And then I started looking into them, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know these cards were even around back, in that time frame. So it's just kind of funny when I heard that announcement. It's like, huh. Because last thing I did was Gold Stars. I mean, that was the last era I did anything at, was when Gold Stars were out. I didn't do anything in Diamond and Pearl. I did not do any level X's. I did none of those cards. I still have not done much with those cards. That's an era that I'm just from all the way through there. I've gotten back up to date with even XY era, most of it. But anything back beyond that, I'm in the black. I just don't know anything much about it. I mean, Black and White, Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, not my cup of tea. Don't have much knowledge in it, and I'm not afraid to admit that. It's just, to me, it's a black hole in the Pokemon. I should really spend more time on it, but I got to put my time in some places and other places, and it just hasn't been there. So once again, yes, Lugia is my equivalent to Arceus. I love Lugia, and I think that Lugia is a really, really hot card. I think that artwork is phenomenal. So I accidentally just pulled another one of them, messing around. Bought some packs at Walmart the other day, and I just pulled another one. And I love the card. I think it's a really, really great card. Overall, I think that it's beautiful alternate art. And I'm going to have to send it out to grading and see if I can get a 10 finally, because I got an 8 and 9, and hopefully I can get a 10. So we'll see. But overall, guys, thank you very much for everybody that's joined. Thank you for joining the live once again. I greatly appreciate it. We went a little bit over tonight, but that's fine. You've had some great questions, had some great conversations once again. Hopefully you guys had a great holiday weekend and a happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Spent some time with friends and family and got some Pokemon cards, hopefully. But other than that, we'll check out this week. We'll be doing a top 5 seal investments coming up tomorrow. That'll be released. And then on Friday, we'll be doing a top 5 singles investments for 2023. And I might throw in the 3 Japanese ones, top 3 Japanese investments from 2023. But I also might be looking at doing it as a short. I haven't decided on that factor yet. It hasn't been edited yet. I'll be sitting down tonight and tomorrow to edit that video up. So other than that, guys, thank you everybody. Once again, awesome stream. Thank you for everybody that's joined in. Seen a lot of familiar faces and some good questions. And like always, we'll be back next Tuesday. It'll be the new year. So the next live we will be doing will be the new year in 2024. We'll be starting it off on January 2nd, almost right at the beginning. So also we'll be doing sometime, I don't know what time. I don't know. I'm going to talk to Basics, see if we can set up kind of a time where I'll announce it. We'll be going on to Basics Live also on New Year's Eve. So when he gets that, I'll link that down below if you have not joined that too. Definitely check out the link down below when I put it in for the full channel for Basics Live. He'll be doing a 24-hour live starting on December 30th going into the new year. So we'll be joining him over there also, so definitely putting that up for him. So definitely hit that. Go check out his channel. Go look up Basic Trainer real quick and jump onto his live, put up your reminder, and then we'll be joining him there then. So other than that, that sounds like it's going to wrap up the New Year's. We're going to finish off with Basic, and we'll see you here on the live on January 2nd at 8 p.m. Central Time as always. And we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.